step back and enjoy this. Attaboy.
It's one of the greatest comeback stories in any sport in history. How sweet is that hug from daughter Bella, wife Emily, who have helped AK turn his life around. It's a tale of redemption. Sobriety, mental fortitude, and the strength of love and family, and the banishing of demons.
Well, I know the mainstream media is not going to pick it up, but for the people that do hear about it, I want to be a good example. I would say that I wasn't the best person, the best partner, the best, whatever you want to call it, best son I could be when I was younger, but who I am today is a completely different person. With God, my family, my sobriety being the key things to my life, I can go as far as I want.
Folks, I know this is not a golf podcast. I get it. But I tell you what, I'm always inspired by stories revolving around golf. It's one of my passions my whole life. I've been a part of the golf world. And to see Anthony Kim win and come back and beat basically a David and Goliath story, beat the top golfers in the world after 12 years not playing golf because of an accident that he had, you can see on his face. And basically a time of reflection on his family and his love of God and so much more. And to see him come back and really tear up a golf course and make one putt after another with so much passion just reminded me of all the things that we've all gone through, the ups and downs, the hurdles, our life story, and how many of us have gone to the depths of despair and depression and feeling like we've lost it all, and yet we fight back. And with God's grace, we make it. And we get to the point where we are able to be a reflection of what the Lord wants us to be with the gifts that he's given us. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about Anthony Kim later and what he's gone through. But I just want to make sure you guys understand, we need something like this. With all of the politics, all the other stuff going all around, it's great to see a story that's making changes in people's lives all across this earth. That's what this is about, right? We're saving our children. He loves his daughter and his wife, and he talks about it all the time. In all the interviews that I watch of him, I follow him closely. And if Anthony Kim was watching this, I just want to say, God bless you, brother. Been praying for you for a long time. And we love you, man. And I was crying just about every moment that he would make a shot or get passionate. And at the end, man, I was a baby. I was crying hard. So anyway, I encourage you guys to look him up, those that don't watch golf, and figure out his life and what happened to him. It's amazing. The amount of information also flowing through the social media world on Epstein files is overwhelming. We covered this nearly a decade ago, and many who doubted Q are now admitting we were right this entire time. Remember when we were told that you didn't think we highlighted Epstein for no reason, did you? Well, timing is everything. Also, I want to show you the most amazing comeback in history. We're going to get to that. Thank you for following us on Rumble at And We Know. And We Know is based off of the Bible verse Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love the Lord, to those who are the called according to his purpose. And folks, we thank Rumble for keeping us with free speech. And, YouTube doesn't do that. Instagram doesn't do it. All these other places, they are hardcore against us. but we're continuing to move forward, and we appreciate those likes and follows. And many of you went to andweknow.com, and you're sending us pictures, and we appreciate that also. Let's start with this.
Yeah, I mean, Democrats in the minds of the American public are lower than the Dead Sea. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look. The net approval rating for Democrats in Congress, you said it, Kate Baldwin, the lowest ever. Look at this. Overall, they are 55 points underwater. Their approval rating is south of 20%. It's even worse when you look at independents. Look at this. Negative 61 points. That means that their approval rating is 61 points lower than their disapproval rating. Quinnipiac has been polling this question for the better part of the 21st century. They have never found Democrats, at least those in Congress, in worse shape than they are right now.
I think this is an older clip, but it's a reminder. They're lower than the Dead Sea, basically dead altogether. I think sometimes it's comms with the Communist News Network, CNN, where they brought this guy in who's always showing us these stats that are just making the Democrats look like the losers that they are. They can't win elections. They have to cheat. They hate America. They hate our freedom. All they care about is lining their pockets and making sure that the people suffer and pay them. It's all it's all about. And most of them probably worship Satan. So it makes you wonder, what are they going to try to do to win them back? I don't know. It's kind of interesting because this character that's playing Hillary, because I don't believe this is Hillary Clinton. I believe it's an actor. Many of you would doubt me on that. I don't care what you guys would say about that. I mean, I care, but what I mean is you can say it all you want. I'm going to continue to push back and say, no, that's not Hillary. She was arrested. And so this cycle, if you're looking at this meme, border crisis coverage, immigration went too far. We need secure borders and strong families, Hillary Clinton. Do you think she would ever say something like that? Well, she went to Munich, and this is the actor Hillary, what she says.
I think we need to call it for what it is.
Secretary
There
Clinton.
is a legitimate reason to have a debate about things like migration. It went too far. It's been disruptive and destabilizing, and it needs to be fixed in a humane way with secure borders that don't torture and kill people.
Oh, wow. A lot of folks are posting, are like, man, was that Hillary? Did she really say that? Is hell frozen over? She's stating that we really need to do something about immigration? You think maybe they're trying to gear her up again? Numbers shifted, polling data. Oh no, we need to do something about this. Well, we're going to talk about securing our border. Homeland Security posted her clip and said it's not controversial. Mass migration went too far and has been destabilizing to our society. Under President Trump and Secretary Noem, we're working tirelessly to reverse the inhumane effects of mass migration and defend our homeland. We'll never give up our mission to save our nation by securing our borders, deporting criminal illegal aliens, and enforcing the law. Now, he mentions Kristi Noem, Homeland Security does. And if you look over to Homeland Security and what's going on there, Kristi Noem is actually in Maricopa County, Arizona, to host a news conference focused on election security. Guess which company prints ballots for Maricopa County? Runbeck. Oh, out of all the counties in the United States, Q focused on one, Maricopa County. She's scheduled to speak. Well, remember, Runbeck was put on the Q drops 4963, November 18, 2022. Wow, 4 years ago. A little over 3 years now. Runbeck is right there. Dominion. Patriots are in trusted positions. Watching over this. Trust yourself. You have seen the truth. Time to show the world. Remember, they put Republican governor won Maricopa County by 325,000 votes. Democrat senator winning Maricopa by 32,000 votes. So that's strange because the Democrats couldn't win if the Republican governor got 325,000 votes. There's no way Democrats would win. That's a 350,000 vote swing. Oh, the things that are playing out before our very eyes. Let's get back to Munich, shall we? So all these folks are showing up for their Munich conference. All the demons join together, and they think they're going to tell us how things will play out. Well, here's Elisa Slotkin. I don't know if you guys remember her. She was the Department of Homeland Security sent legal requests to Google, Reddit, Meta, and Discord for the names, email addresses, telephone numbers, and identifying data of accounts that track and criticize ICE. She's one of those critics of ICE, so she needs to be on that list. She urged the CIA and troops to rebel against Trump. Remember? She was allowed to represent us in Germany. Wow.
I stand here as an American senator feeling very concerned about the 2026 elections in November. He is telling us what he wants to do. He is laying it out for us, and it is up to the Americans to believe him, right? That just like in 2020, he said, if I don't win, then it wasn't a free and fair election. He is repeating the playbook, now threatening to put uniformed federal agents around polling locations. I mean, he's telling us the playbook. So the question is, what are we going to do as Americans to defend our democracy that we helped invent? Okay. And that, to me, that process that's going on right now, which is playing out in front of all of you, it's not like we like coming here and talking to you about the difficulties in our own country. No one likes to do that. But it is playing out in front of you. And the question is, will the American people, and when will the American people feel like the issues of democracy are actually not someone else's issues, their kitchen table issues? They affect my everyday life, my safety, my family, my security.
Always democracy. She committed sedition, and she's being a traitor overseas. She needs to be expelled. You know, Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon announces she has launched lawsuits against 25 states and D.C. for refusing to clean their voter rolls. California, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Maine, Oregon, Colorado, Hawaii, Massachusetts, Nevada, Delaware, Maryland, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington, Illinois, Wisconsin, Georgia, Arizona, Connecticut, Virginia, and D.C.
We asked all of these states and the District of Columbia to give us their voter rolls so that we could compare them with our federal databases and help them comply with our federal civil rights laws. About 14 of the states have complied with us voluntarily. We've engaged in some litigation and settled it with North Carolina, where they agreed to clean up their voter rolls. And we have compliance coming in from a few more states. But so far, I've sued 25 states in the District of Columbia for...
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. So, folks, in a moment, we're going to show you what Marco Rubio did in Munich to all the folks there. Basically, he's giving them a message that they all need to hear. Many of them in that room are guilty. They're criminals. Can't wait to show you.
God, that is just a dramatic change in her from here to here.
Keep going.
And this is Rhonda Sutherland just a few years later, after early onset Alzheimer's had taken its toll.
Well, this is only one of millions of harrowing stories. Early onset dementia and Alzheimer's are on the rise. Reports show a 373% increase in diagnosis among 30 to 44-year-olds and a 311% increase in 45 to 50-year-olds in the U.S. in recent years. When doctors attempt to treat these brain diseases, they often focus on medicating the brain itself, addressing symptoms like a Band-Aid rather than solving the root cause. Alzheimer's disease is driven by chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, which damages brain cells and triggers the buildup of toxic proteins. Studies suggest that bioactive compounds in kimchi improve cognitive and memory function by targeting the amyloid beta, the main sign of Alzheimer's disease that forms those sticky plaques in the brain. Kimchi helps protect the brain by reducing oxidative stress, inflammation, and brain cell death, while also alleviating depression and anxiety. Notably, these same protective mechanisms are linked to reduced cancer risk with kimchi's ability to suppress carcinogen activating enzymes. That's why Brightcore created Kimchi One. It delivers all the benefits of real kimchi in convenient capsules. No taste, no smell, and non-GMO, and 100% made in the USA. So you can go in that description box below the video right now, and we know as viewers are getting 25% off Kimchi One with code AUK at brightcore.com/AUK. Or even better deal, call my friends at Brightcore. They'll give you up to 50% off plus free shipping. Call 888-317-9941. The first 100 callers to order will also get a free bottle of vitamin D3. Before we get to Marco Rubio and his takedown of the folks there at the Munich Security Conference, I wanted to show you one of those guys that showed up. This snake right here, this demon-possessed guy with probably legions of demons inside of him, from California.
But I want to remember all those images of masked men, the secret police, something familiar in Germany. Those first images came out of my state, the second largest city in the United States of America. We saw 4,000 National Guard federalized. First time, we'd never seen anything like this. And 700 active duty Marines sent not overseas, but to the second largest city in the United States of America, militarizing the streets of my city. Masked men showing up, unaccountable, no IDs.
Old Newscomb. Yes, we did send, and we voted for the cleaning up of our cities. And it takes the National Guard and the Marines to do that, because this snake, including all the other Democrats that are ruining that state of California, who weren't elected, they were selected to destroy it, could give a rip about anybody there. Evil right there in your face. So it was great to have Marco Rubio there to talk to many of the evil ones in this room and give them a message.
We increasingly outsourced our sovereignty to international institutions while many nations invested in massive welfare states at the cost of maintaining the ability to defend themselves. This, even as other countries have invested in the most rapid military buildup in all of human history and have not hesitated to use hard power to pursue their own interests. To appease a climate cult, we have imposed energy policies on ourselves that are impoverishing our people, even as our competitors exploit oil and coal and natural gas and anything else, not just to power their economies, but to use as leverage against our own. And in a pursuit of a world without borders, we opened our doors to an unprecedented wave of mass migration that threatens the cohesion of our societies, the continuity of our culture, and the future of our people.
Imagine all those European countries with their selected leaders instead of elected. They're destroying Germany, and he's standing right there in Munich where they're importing hundreds of thousands of illegals to destroy all of Europe. And he's right there telling them to their face.
We made these mistakes together. And now together we owe it to our people to face those facts and to move forward, to rebuild. Under President Trump, the United States of America will once again take on the task of renewal and restoration, driven by a vision of a future as proud, as sovereign, and as vital as our civilization's past. And while we are prepared, if necessary, to do this alone, it is our preference and it is our hope to do this together with you, our friends here in Europe. For the United States and Europe, we belong together. America was founded 250 years ago, but the roots began here on this continent long before. The men who settled and built the nation of my birth arrived on our shores carrying the memories and the traditions and the Christian faith of their ancestors as a sacred inheritance, an unbreakable link between the old world and the new. We are part of one civilization, Western civilization. We are bound to one another by the deepest bonds that nations could share, forged by centuries of shared history, Christian faith, culture, heritage, language, ancestry, and the sacrifices our forefathers made together for the common civilization to which we have fallen heir. And so this is why we Americans may sometimes come off as a little direct and urgent in our counsel. This is why President Trump demands seriousness and reciprocity from our friends here in Europe. The reason why, my friends, is because we care deeply. We care deeply about your future and ours. And if at times we disagree, our disagreements come from our profound sense of concern about a Europe with which we are connected, not just economically, not just militarily. We are connected spiritually and we are connected culturally. We want Europe to be strong. We believe that Europe must survive. Because the two great wars of the last century serve for us as history's constant reminder that ultimately our destiny is and will always be intertwined with yours. Because we know
they're clapping. I don't know. Maybe most of the room are agreeing with them. Maybe they're all under duress because they've got major families that are paying buku money to keep them in the power that they contain. I don't know. But I tell you what, when you go to the CNN area and you find Mark Kelly, the alien, the guy here who, I don't know, sometimes I wonder if he's wearing a mask. Don't know who this guy really is at times. Anyway, he slams Donald Trump for blowing up the world order.
Well, let me start by saying, I couldn't hear exactly what Secretary Rubio was saying, but he was talking about the global world order has changed. Well, it changed for a reason. Somebody changed
quote,
it.
The old world is gone.
The old world's gone because Donald Trump blew it up. I mean, we had this system of alliances we've had around the world, especially here in Europe, that has served us as a country so well for decades.
They served us so well. So my mind is telling me at this moment, how did they serve us so well? Oh, we all had our countries joined together. We had these huge tariffs that were set up so that America had to pay all of these debts to other countries every time they had to make a purchase. But oh no, we didn't take tariffs. We let them do whatever they wanted to our country for free. Oh, we had USAID, man. We were taking all the taxpayer money from Americans and we were sending it to all these other countries for LGBTQ and transgender surgeries and all types of teaching children how to be, how to love adults and all kinds of just terrible things, great things, that we were doing. And then he just came in and he just ruined it all. All the money that was going into our pockets and all the great times that we were stealing elections and we're doing everything for us and our power, and he's taking it all away. And he does he look like he's filled with joy? Look at that joy on his face as he speaks.
World War II. And, granted, I don't think previous administrations did a great job explaining to the American people why this is so important. To our safety, to our economic security, to the future of the planet. It is really important that we, as a nation, have friends. We've got a rising China. Technologically, they are more than competitive with us right now, and the industrialization and their ability to build things surpasses ours.
They're so much better than America. We need to be friends with them because they're better than us. That's a great message there, Mark Kelly. I think I've had enough of him. Let's go to any other characters. Oh, they had the little sit down and they were talking with Whitmer. They want her to be a leader on the scale of the entire earth. Let's see what she says when a question was thrown her way.
On Ukraine, what does victory look like? Ambassador.
No, please. I'd love to hear your answer.
It is. The two that I am on the panel with are much more steeped in foreign policy than a governor is. But I do think that Ukraine's independence, keeping their land mass, and having the support of all the allies, I think is the goal from my vantage point. Go ahead, Ambassador. Do a better job.
She has no idea what she's doing. And AOC is sitting there too. Look, this is AOC. I'm going to show you in a moment what AOC actually said when a question was thrown her way, because they want her to be a future leader of the world. Yeah. First, I want to show you, again, all of the gear that we have at amweknow.com. If you go there, folks, many of you responded. You went to our website when we asked you to go there, and You hit that contact button on andweknow.com. And when you hit that contact button, I'll show you here, it'll actually take you to a place where you can fill out your information, name and email, and send a photo. You can see it right down here. You just click there, send that photo, and we'll take that and use it for our video, just like we're about to do now. But our website's pretty amazing. You can even still sign up for the waiting list for the Freedom Cruise 2026 if you want. All of our partners are there and more. Here's great pictures of patriots wearing our gear. So as promised, AOC. Democrats are furious that AOC short-circuited in an embarrassing world salad in Germany. They want her to be the 2028 frontrunner. Here we go.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a... I think that this is of course a very longstanding policy of the United States, and I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point, and we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
And all the Democrats say, what was that? Or they're saying, we got to support her no matter what. I know she looks dumb, but we've got to help her out. Kind of makes me wonder how they handle the elections, right? You got the Democrat Colorado Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold. I mean, we got some strange ones for you today. She sent out 30,000 mailers to illegals. She's confronted. How does she handle it?
A final question. This is not the first time that your office has made mistakes that have damaged voters' confidence in our elections. In 2022, your office sent out mailers to 30,000 non-citizens inviting them to register to vote. They, of course, are not eligible to register to vote. That same year, your office used Colorado's ballot tracking system to send messages to specific Coloradans encouraging them to vote when, in fact, they had already voted, causing confusion that had to be cleaned up by the county clerks. And now this leak of the voting system passwords. Given your office's repeated errors that have damaged confidence in our elections, which you say is paramount, will you resign?
Absolutely not, Kyle. And I just want to... You're unfairly characterizing and leaving out some crucial information.
Oh, we're looking forward to these folks finally going down when the election's approved and stolen and more. Oh, that day will be so glorious. What other days will be great? Oh, let's see. Some guy decides to go on a podcast and they have a great conversation because these people are stupid. And they actually admit to all of the payments going out to those folks who go out and cause all kinds of problems on the streets with these riots.
Really, it's paid. Speaking of being paid, how much do you get paid to protest? I know that's a
usually protest rates go like outside agitator rates or just strict protest rates.
Like just like sign up, put your coat on, hold a sign that was pre-made for you, obviously.
You just hold a sign. I got a couple of pictures holding signs. I can tell you those contracts are lower, maybe 20 an hour to hold a sign. You want to outside agitate? I go 50 an hour.
Nice.
I go 50 an hour. And then that once we pass certain temperatures, we're in the negatives. Like negative 30 Minneapolis, I'm charging 100 an hour to be out here.
Yeah, you better.
You know who's paying me too.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I got the same check last week.
Exactly, I know.
Yeah. We get I was getting 35 an hour, but I wasn't screaming my lungs off. I was only I was
There's
screaming.
contingencies.
Yeah.
In these
Well, they make you wear those decibel readers to see how loud you're actually chanting.
They do. And the right doesn't know, MAGA doesn't know about that yet.
Yeah.
MAGA doesn't know about the decibel readers. I got one on me right now.
The decibel readers. Wow. If you get louder and louder, we pay you more and more. Oh, if it's negative 30 degrees outside, I was always wondering because, most folks don't want to go out in negative 30 degree weather to protest if they, we really care about all the ice stuff that's going on. Man, I'm going out there in negative 30. I'm going to let these guys know how I feel. No, you got to pay me $100 an hour, he says, to get me out there for that. Oh, that's why they show up. And then let's not forget that James O'Keefe exposed the paid protester nonprofit organization that has a budget of $30 million. Yeah, $30 million.
This other protester we secretly recorded talks about an organization called Make the Road New York. We've never heard of this organization, but apparently they have a budget of $30 million.
I mean, if you're interested in an immigrants' rights organization, you should look up Make the Road New York.
Make the Road New York.
Make the Road.
But who are you with?
I'm just with the union.
Oh.
Yeah. SEIU, Service Employees International.
We looked at the tax returns of Make the Road New York and found they're a registered 501c3 that file a 990, and they received $16 million in grants. We are in the wrong business, everyone. Can you imagine what Nick Shirley could do with $16 million? Can you imagine what James O'Keefe could do with $16 million? The United States government is funding this. We're $36 trillion in debt, or are we $36 trillion in fraud?
Yeah. Then you go over and we watch the school protests. You guys have watched them all. I mean, one after another after another. Well, these kids decided to go out, scream and yell. And let's see. They decide to punch the guy in the face. Did you see that? Show it again. Boom, punched in the face. Boom, there it is again. And they're in shock. The kids are like, wow, he just got punched. And she's like, man, I don't know if I came out here for this. One of the protesters, you can see, she's holding the sign. Look at her. She's in shock. And then things get ugly. And ugly, and they're cussing like crazy, and the police show up. And the guy says, yeah, I got punched.
I would.
He says, yeah, I'll press charges. Now they're going after him. So look what happens next. They grab the two girls and listen to her. You ready? Here we go. They pick her up off the ground. She collapses. Listen to what she says. Do you hear what she's screaming? She's terrorized. I want my mommy. Like a little baby. Look what the parents did to these children. Then the parents cart them off to these schools, government-run schools, and the government-run schools, many of them say, we're going to go out and let you guys protest ICE. And they get out there and they start beating up people and don't realize, man, the police are going to arrest you because you're punching people in the face. And they drag them all the way there while the kids are screaming and yelling. Many of them can barely read or write, can barely do math. Yelling, screaming, and cursing. Where else do we see this? Oh, Florida teachers unions. Yeah. Backing the anti-ICE walkouts in schools. Listen to this.
So when Florida students are confronted with videos of ICE raids, of families being torn apart, and of Americans being murdered for using their constitutional rights, they respond. They organize. They speak out. And they do what American students have always done in moments of injustice. They stand together and demand safety for their peers, their families, and themselves. And that response, while framed by some politicians as radical, is rather reasonable. It's rational. And in a moment like this, it is required. To any students being told that they do not have the right to speak out or walk out on their campus, I want to be clear. This is the United States of America. You do not shed your First Amendment rights when you step foot through the schoolhouse gates.
Florida Teachers Union press conference. Yeah. I worked in the school system, on the government side, for a long time. And I can't give you specifics, but I'm going to tell you now. I watched folks do some heinous things, terrible things to children. And instead of punishing them, they got protection from the unions and they were moved to another school on another part of the earth. Can you imagine what it feels like when you're in that system? I got out and I said, I'm done with this. I'm done with it. You can't imagine the things that go on in those systems. Many of them. Listen to this.
Colorado just reported that they are down 10,000 students because they are going to homeschooling. As a former teacher here, I find that quite interesting. And I think it needs to take some self-reflection to figure out why. Why are so many people going to homeschooling? I mean, my entire group is previous teachers. All of us were there and said, nah, I'm doing it at home. And I think that's some things that we all need to be thinking about.
Robert Borton says K-12 public schools spend $17,280 per pupil. Homeschooling costs about $1,000 a year. Only about 33% of public school students are literate. About 99% of homeschoolers are literate. It's incredible. Been homeschooling folks, all five of ours. We allowed 2 of them to go back to the public school system when we got to Germany on base and thought it was going to be amazing for them. It's quite the opposite in many ways. And I'm not going to get into the details, but I tell you what, if I could go back, I would have never done it. Watching their social skills be developed when they went to the government-controlled system, everybody kept saying, oh, they need their social skills. They're being taken away from all of the kids. Yeah. You know what social skills they gained? Not what you think. The ones that we did school from home, guess who they were around all the time? Adults. And guess what the adults are telling them? Everything that they did wrong when they were younger and what to do right growing up. Guess how many books they read? A lot. Were they perfect? No. Was I a great dad? Nope. We are not very good at homeschooling. I'll tell you what, though. What a change. Love our children. It doesn't mean you don't love your children if you don't homeschool. I'm just saying. There's many things that we do for our kids, and it kind of gets me to what I wanted to share with you earlier, and I wanted to get back to Anthony Kim for a second before we move forward. Anthony Kim, 5,796 days after he won the 2010 Houston Open, he lifted up a trophy in Adelaide, Australia. He constantly talks about his children and his victories there. Let me show you this clip from LIV Golf. There was 150,000 people that showed up for this, and they watched history in the making. A guy that has not been around the golf scene for 12 years. Greatest comeback story in history. I shared this in the beginning. And his child ran into his arms, and he loves his daughter and he loves his wife. And they weren't spraying alcohol on him because he's gone through sobriety. It's what's destroyed his life. They were spraying fizzy water on him, and they told him that, and everybody heard him. Listen to this.
I'm too old to be reacting like that because I think I pulled something in my hip. But I will say that was all the lows that I went through in my life that I got to dig out of.
And he's talking about every time he celebrated, every time he made a putt, he would turn and pump his fist the way Anthony Kim did.
Every putt that went in, I felt the struggle, and I was overcoming it. So it was therapeutic out there to fight through it and come out on top. I putted great. My caddy and I worked so well out there. I heard my wife shouting, even when it was going bananas out there. So all those little things, including, I don't want to forget the support I've had from the crowd here in Australia has been second to none. I'm very overwhelmed with this feeling right now, but my plan is to keep getting better and start winning some more trophies.
And so if you see his face, has changed quite a bit. You see there from the top what he looked like and what he looks like now. He got in a severe accident because he was on drugs and alcohol. From what he shares in his story, it was a bad time in his life. He was on top of the world, one of the golfing phenoms. He was just as good as Tiger Woods. He was catching up with him. And they disappeared. And it reminded me of what we have here with, and we know, a great relationship with Chad and Katie at New Spring Wellness Center. Brain restoration for addiction recovery. It's in the description box below. They're out of Lake of the Ozarks. I've been there twice now to visit, to see what folks are going through and how more, and even going to the Lake of the Ozarks is amazing. Are you or a loved one struggling with addiction? At New Spring Wellness Center, they offer a proven outpatient program that addresses addiction recovery like no other. It's designed to restore your health, eliminate cravings, and help you achieve lasting recovery. With personalized care, cutting-edge IV therapy, and faith-based support, they provide the tools and resources you need to overcome addiction for good. I'm not saying that's where Anthony Kim went for recovery, but he did say he went through a recovery process. And I'm telling you, I've talked to many who have gone through this program. Amber, 15 years struggling. Before coming to New Spring Wellness, I had tried inpatient, outpatient programs, Suboxone, methadone, maintenance, counseling, and AA. I came to New Spring to ease withdrawal symptoms in a stress-free environment to begin repairing my neural pathways. A family member who works in recovery told me about it. Almost instantly, my withdrawal symptoms eased. And I finally had time to focus on myself. Folks, go in that description box below. Get 1% better every day, like Anthony Kim recognizes. I want to make sure I shared that with you today. Now, a lot of us have withdrawal symptoms from Hillary Clinton. She showed up, remember, the actress, I believe, at the Munich security conference. And I tell you what, the Czech deputy prime minister, Machinka, just destroyed Hillary Clinton. You're going to enjoy this.
Peter, do you agree that the Trump administration's actions on Ukraine have produced a rift in the West?
Well, first, I think you really don't like him.
That is absolutely true. But I really, not only do I not like him, I don't like him because of what he's doing to the United States and the world. And I think you should take a hard look at it if you think that there is something good that will come out of it.
Peter,
what I think Trump is doing in America, I think it is reaction for something for some policies that really went too far from the regular people, too far from reality. So, we saw the cancel culture. We saw the woke revolution. I don't agree with the gender revolution, the climate alarmism.
Which gender? Women having their rights?
Let Peter go on.
I think there are two genders. So, but some of us think that there is more than one or more than two gender. I think there is male and female, and the rest probably is a social construct. So this is something that went too far.
But does that justify selling out the people of Ukraine who are on the front lines dying to save their freedom and their two genders, if that's what you're worried about?
Can I please finish my points? I'm sorry that it makes you nervous. I'm really sorry for that.
It makes me nervous. It makes me
but seriously, can we let Peter finish, please? Can we let Peter finish, please?
I have to say one more thing. You said that Ukraine fights for our future and for our freedom. I think first, Ukraine fights for Ukraine's future, Ukraine's freedom, and Ukraine's sovereignty and independence.
To her face, And she's doing a good job playing this role. Constantly interrupting others. So, some folks could say, hey, that's the real Hillary. Maybe they arrested her and they're putting her on notice and saying, we're going to watch you and put a boot on your leg and watch everywhere you go. And you go do whatever you want, say whatever you want, but you're done. Remember, her health is supposed to deteriorate soon. Maybe this year, maybe next year. Who knows? Folks are guessing. But I tell you what, when truth is thrown at them, they can't let you finish. Demonic possessed people can't let you finish. So maybe she was pushed in there by the deep state as another actor. Maybe it's not the white hats that are controlling her. Who knows? But it sure is getting a lot of exposure worldwide for this Munich security conference. And good job, Prime Minister Machinka, not putting up with their mess. The mess that we have to put up with. Like this character you're looking at in Texas.
Hello, my name is Bridget Bandit, and I'm speaking in opposition to SB 18.
Now, for those listening and not watching, this guy is dressed up like, it looks like a clown with big pink hair on and weird, freaky-deaky makeup, supposedly playing a female.
I'm a born and raised Texan and full-time drag queen. Previously, I've worked with children throughout my life as a swim instructor, teaching summer art camps, hosting children's birthday parties, and volunteering in my church as a youth group leader.
Oh my goodness. What, you called it a church? Whew.
Today, I occasionally host drag queen story times. These kinds of events don't differ much from the kind of work I did before, yet this bill would impact my ability to work with children simply based on a subjective and ill-defined expectation of how I should look.
This bill will prevent me from being around children. Good. Pass it. Chuck Schumer announced the plan to designate the LGBTQ pride flag as a congressionally authorized flag. This guy. I used to have a picture of his supposed wife. Do I have that? Yes, there it is. Do you guys notice anything about Schumer's wife? Anything at all? Do you notice anything that stands out? For those that are not looking at your screen and you're listening, that is the most manly looking wife I've seen in a while. Then we wonder why he wants the flag to be congressionally authorized. Oh, I see how they operate. Just letting you know in case you didn't know. Now on to some more of this shocking stuff. This is the Epstein things we're going to get into. So if you have kids, some of this is not appropriate for them. Just giving you a moment to pause and move on. Here we go.
Oh, God. What does that mean?
This is from June 6, 2011, from Tom Pritzker of the billionaire Pritzker family, one of the richest families in the world, to Jeffrey Epstein. I am in a remote valley of Afghanistan, and then in parentheses, it's my birthday wish. With boys with toys. Oh. I don't want to believe that means what I think it means, but we all know, it's been well documented in this studio by our friends who are tier 1 operators in Afghanistan, what goes on in Afghanistan.
Yep.
As it relates to young boys. Oh, dude. These people are just saying it on email.
Yep. For those that don't understand Afghanistan, I'll tell you what. I did have a Marine warrant officer friend who was over there, and he told me when they pull up in their vehicles, these men, many of them have young boys in the vehicle with them that are not who they say they are. And it's a terrible thing what goes on, and they were not allowed to say anything. More Epstein.
Here's the second most important email from the Epstein files. Subject line, prepare for pandemics. Written on March 19th, 2015. In that email, it says, let's discuss next steps. For example, how to involve the World Health Organization. I hope we can pull this off. Then in 2019 came Event 201, a simulation of a global pandemic to see how each organization should react, like how to counter the anti-vaxxers and the spread of misinformation. That was sponsored by Bill Gates, by the way. And in early 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic happened. One of the biggest scams in modern history. Now, we know that Bill Gates and Epstein were close because in another email, Gates is asking Epstein to give him antibiotics to slip to his then-wife Melinda because he may have given her STDs that he caught on Epstein Island.
Apparently, Jeffrey wrote an email to himself.
What? And then they gave that guy the mandate to push vaccines on all of us. And to add insult to injury, and lecture us on climate change at the World Economic Forum. Now, this is not a moment for us to tell the people who didn't believe us, I told you so. It's a moment for all of us to come together and push back against these evil, deceptive, miserable rats.
Evil rats. Now, there's a guy that actually went into the Epstein files, started looking at them, and listen to what he says he discovered.
Well, I just made the biggest mistake probably that I've ever made in my life. Last night, couldn't sleep, looked at the files, started with documents, moved on to video, and my God, bloody hell. We're living in bloody hell. I had to stop because I can't unsee what I saw. In my life, I've watched horror movies, not even close. Blood-curdling screams of young kids, the fear in these children. These people are the devil walking earth. The devil is on earth. It was horrible. Unaliving of children. The idea that they've been unaliving children, cutting up intestines and eating them, unaliving babies, violating, essaying these children. I mean, I've never in my life, if you had told me in my wildest dreams, I swear, maybe I'm naive. Am I naive? But if you told me in my wildest dreams that this kind of thing was happening in this country.
Yep. Unaliving. You guys know what that means? He has to say that because they'll kick him off of the platform if he says what they're actually doing to the kids. Unaliving. Think about what that word means. Okay? Woke societies. Everyone that blackpilled on Bondi, on Kash Patel, and the Trump Department of Justice are all eating sandwiches tonight. In other words, they're really realizing they were wrong. Did you guys hear anybody predicting things out there saying, oh, Pam Bondi's the enemy? I was told by God himself. The rest of the files were just released, and they are devastating. They are as satanic and evil as we thought they were, and worse. Happy Valentine's, fam, and shout out to the ones who have stayed loyal to Trump and MAGA since 2016. And then you had Billie Eilish, who I believe is a biological male. I'm not going to let his voice play. Basically says, I love babies. And though I have iron deficiency, it tastes good. Like, have you guys liked the taste of blood? I like the taste of blood. That's what he said. Now listen to this.
Taste of blood. Wasn't you supposed to be the world's #1 virtue signaler at an award show just a couple weeks ago? And you're telling everyone you like the taste of what? I think you need to be careful with statements like that, considering everything that's coming out now. Even the NPCs and the people who weren't switched on are starting to rub a bit of that sleep out of their eyes. Yeah, you want to maraud on stage, you're some hero, when you have no idea what it is to live amongst real people, real working class people. But you like the taste of what? Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Jeffrey Epstein's newly released files named Jay-Z as a sick predator who drugged and raped multiple women and was literally naked in a room with Harvey Weinstein. This monster still walks red carpets and runs empires in the music industry. Joe Lang, everything has changed. Nobody in the Trump administration fears Congress. Most of them are crooks and are in office because of fraudulent elections. They are no longer the protected class. The two-tier justice system is gone. The hunters have become the hunted, and the hunt is on, all planned and timed. Remember how we got here? Elon and Trump staged a very public fight after their whirlwind bromance to get him elected. Elon demands the Epstein files be released and wants full transparency. Anybody remember how Elon helped bait the trap? Here's his post on X that has since been deleted. Time to drop the really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. The Democrats, media, and clowns like Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene took the bait and ran with it to bash Trump. They hold public rallies with victims and claim Trump and Bondi are hiding the truth. Epstein buddy Steve Bannon joins the chorus. Yeah, Steve Bannon's in those files big time. For years, none of them ever cared about Epstein until Elon lit that match. Then Trump throws fuel on the fire. He calls the demand for the Epstein files a hoax. Q-Drop 3799, January 28, 2020 says, "You didn't think we highlighted Epstein for no reason, did you? Those who were once protected are no longer." Timing is everything. Hunters become prey. You know what's very interesting, folks, I noticed about that? Look at these words. Those who were once protected are no longer. Now, that could be no longer protected or are no longer. In other words, they are gone. They are no longer gone. I got to put that G-O-N-E. Okay. Trump calling it a hoax instantly lights an inferno on social media. Remember, the Epstein files are hoax. As more fools pile into the fight over releasing the Epstein files, it brings a nationwide focus that was planned from the beginning. All eyes are on. Trump even stages a White House photo op with a lot of the influencers who were demanding that he release the files. Anybody remember the photos with the influencers at the White House holding up the folders? There they are. Remember those folks were baited in and brought in? See anybody you notice? Oh, there's one there in the back right. That guy happens to be on the Q drops as somebody we're not supposed to be listening to. Anyway, where else do we go with that? Turn out that the only files the influencers got were the ones that had already been released before. Nothing new. This turns up the heat. Now, even more people demand to release all the Epstein files as a loud call goes out from all the usual suspects to fire Pam Bondi. She's accused of protecting Trump. The whole Democrat leadership goes all in on releasing the Epstein files as a distraction for their many exposed crimes. They accuse Trump of being a pedophile. Q-Drop 3728 from 2019 says, "Friend Patriot, hold your head up high. POTUS was not harmed in any way today other than on paper, history books. Sometimes you must sacrifice yourself for the greater good. Quote, I will gladly take all those slings and arrows for you," says President Trump. But even that can be undone. The enormity of what is coming will shock the world, pray. And don't forget, during this time, Bondi announced that millions of more documents on Epstein were discovered that nobody knew about, quote unquote. Coincidence? The pressure builds. The enemy think they have Trump trapped. Who really has the advantage? Q-Drop 3596 from 2019. What advantages might exist when you know the other side's playbook? Enjoy the show. After the newly discovered Epstein files are announced, Congress quickly moves to pass the Epstein Files Transparency Act and sends it to Trump's desk, daring him to veto it. After months of buildup leading to this moment, Trump finally caves. He signs the law, demands that Bondi release all the Epstein files. Boomerang. And now Trump, Elon, and Bondi just trapped them all. Trump was completely exonerated. He was in the files, all right. He's the hero. Trump was the one who helped expose Epstein and Maxwell years ago and was the one as president who finally had both of them arrested so they would face justice, finally, for their crimes. Trump was completely exonerated. He was in the files, all right. He's the hero. Checkmate. All part of the plan. Brad Zerbo showed this. Not only was Trump one of the first people to call in 2006 when PBPD started their Epstein investigation, but he also gave up Ghislaine and told them she was evil. And there it is on your screen if you want to pause and read it all. And let's not forget, the Epstein associate, Reid Hoffman, said he conspired to take down Donald Trump by funding E. Jean Carroll's lawsuit against him.
My team looked at it and thought that it was that her voice should be heard, that because she was challenging someone who's so much more wealthy and powerful, it shouldn't be squashed, and that providing that voice for people who are otherwise would be ground down by the system or the powerful is, I think, a good thing. Obviously, especially in the case of women, and obviously, especially in the case of sexual and other torture and attack and
E. Jean Carroll. He funded him. Reid Hoffman said, the FBI cleared me because Elon Musk said Hoffman should be investigated. Well, he said, the FBI cleared me. You, on the other hand, Elon Musk said to Reid Hoffman. Well, Elon replied to Reid Hoffman, who said he was cleared by the FBI. Liar, you are guilty of dark deeds and haven't been cleared of anything. You stayed at Epstein's island, Epstein's ranch in New Mexico, and Epstein's house in New York. You offered to help him with PR. You gave him gifts. Maybe if it was only one stay over, you could claim it was a mistake, maybe. But there's no possible explanation for the second time, let alone the third time. As the record shows, you were an eager, repeat customer. Wake and Outlaw, the larger circle of like-minded friends of Jeffrey Epstein, they own 90% of all the media. And don't kid yourself, at this level, they're all involved in one ginormous evil club. The same media, you may have noticed, has worked overtime for decades to successfully gaslight the general public into believing that the people who had seen through the lies and were trying to expose them in their sick, twisted ways were crazy conspiracy theorists. Let me know when you connect the dots. And what we're looking at is News Corp has their side with Fox and FX and Hulu. Time Warner has their CNN and HBO. Comcast has their Hulu and NBC and Universal. Disney has ABC, ESPN, and others. Viacom has BET, and Sony has others. All six combined together. President Trump also posted this: mortgage rates going down to 5% with President Trump. But it looks like basically, they look like a countdown, 8765. And he posted it at 10:05. 10:05 on the cue board, thanks to Ultra Magadine Erickson, says we are under attack. War, no deals. 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. We're looking forward to that. Breaking news.
The Treasury Department says it's canceling all of its contracts with the consulting firm Booz Allen Hamilton. The Treasury Department saying in a statement just a short time ago that they have 31 separate contracts with Booz Allen Hamilton, the total of $4.8 million in annual spending. They're doing this in response to a former Booz Allen employee leaking sensitive taxpayer information. They say between 2018 and 2020, Charles Edward Littlejohn, an employee of Booz Allen Hamilton, stole and leaked the confidential tax returns and return information of hundreds of thousands of taxpayers. To date, the IRS determined that the data breach affected approximately 406,000 taxpayers. Littlejohn has pled guilty to felony charges in connection with the leak. And notably, among those whose tax information was most prominently leaked, of course, President Trump himself. Guys, back over to you.
How about that? Mr. Poole chimes in, says, hey, they just turned on the lights and the cockroaches are running. February 11th, 2026, the federal government activated the most dangerous weapon ever aimed at Washington corruption, the wall of receipts. Every federal agency in America is now required to provide real-time accounting of every single dollar spent, every contract, every grant, every loan, every personnel hour, all of it tracked by AI, visible to the public. This isn't a promise, it's live right now. Here's how it works. Every government transaction now requires a written justification from the authorizing official. If they can't justify the spending within 30 days, well, there's an automatic red flag. Doge auditors move in. Funds get rescinded. No more hiding. No more classified budgets for office furniture. No more $500 hammers. Every single dollar tracked. The numbers they don't want you to see. The CBO just released its report this week. National debt approaching $39 trillion. 2026 deficit, $1.9 trillion. Interest payments alone over $1 trillion per year. Debt projected to hit 120% of GDP by 2036. That's higher than the record set during World War II. America's spending $1 trillion just to pay interest on money the government already wasted. Elon Musk said it plainly, we are 1,000% going to go bankrupt as a country. He's not exaggerating. The math doesn't lie. What Doge already found. Doge teams are now embedded inside every major federal agency. So they've uncovered $100 billion in inefficiencies, 31 contracts with Booz Allen Hamilton canceled. Some agencies had their workforce cut by 50%. Nothing stopped working. A planned 22% cut to non-defense spending is coming. The swamp didn't just waste money. They built an empire on your tax dollars, and nobody was watching until now. Every dollar tracked. All AI flags suspicious spending automatically. The public can see where your money goes. They're draining the swamp. That's what it looks like. Not speeches, not promises. A digital dragnet that catches everything. The deadline's July 4th, 2026. By Independence Day, the system will be permanently coded into federal law. The AI is fast. Even faster is going to be those silver prices, and folks have been jumping on the silver. It's been amazing. We had an amazing video drop Saturday with Dr. Kirk Elliott, silver riding double waves, most violent reprices in history, bringing record highs in silver by the summer, and it's according to several experts. We played a clip showing a guy who's actually predicting up to $200 to $300 by the summer. An ounce. Yep. We played that clip. Dr. Elliott explains it all. amweknow.com/gold. Enter description box below, folks, to move on that. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Also amazing is this. Representative Josh Williams, Republican candidate for Congress in Ohio's 9th District, watches a county questioning a 5-year-old about their sexual orientation. Then he tracked whether the parents supported it, and he is not happy.
Representative Williams said, you talked about this instance of a 5-year-old, and from what you said, the family was supportive of the child's expressed view. So that case wouldn't be what the bill's meant to address?
Yeah, I was quoting all of the news reports that have been out there. What's concerning to me is that, one, there was a conversation with a 5-year-old about their sexual orientation. A 5-year-old. We got kids that aren't even kindergarten ready, but we're having conversations with them about their sexual orientation at 5? Mm-hmm. There's concerns there. Just the conversation alone, there's concerns there. It's not concerns about whether or not the parents are affirming or not, but here's the question. If they asked a 5-year-old about their sexual orientation, it just so happened that the parents were affirming, according to Cuyahoga County, that's great. What happened if the parents weren't? Are you removing a 5-year-old from the custody of their children because you don't affirm a child's sexual orientation at 5? The answer is no governmental agency should have that authority, period. That's non-debatable. That's not a partisan issue. That's an 80-20 issue that the voters support us on. No parent should have their constitutionally protected rights taken away to raise their children as they see fit simply because their 5-year-old has been taught that there's a such thing as having a sexual orientation to the same gender. That's absurd.
That's Representative Josh Williams. Way to go. Out of Ohio, it looks like. Whew. A lot of things going on in that area. I tell you what, we are a part of the Great Awakening. Kirill Dmitriev did it again. He actually posted this from Spiritual Street Fighter. And he said, Q and Anons enabled the awakening as many now understand and apologize. That's right. Mario Nawfal said, wild to think that Q Anon, he put it together, and we know that that's not the way it's supposed to be put together, was dismissed as a completely insane conspiracy theory, even by me. And it took us all these years and citizens replacing journalists and the FBI to finally find out there actually was an elite sex trafficking ring protected by the powerful. The system failed so badly. We all owe them an apology. Remember, February 14th, 2019, we were told, what a coincidence. Return publicly? Is the pace picking up? Let's answer that question. I think we're returning publicly. Q is definitely coming back publicly, and the pace is definitely picking up, and folks are catching on. And it's glorious.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you again for your continued guidance and direction in our lives. Thank you for the leadership that you've placed over us to ensure that this evil is not only exposed to wake people up to the corruption that's been around us for so long, but we see and understand their plans in place to take these folks away from us. And finally, we will say, relief at last. We finally made it. And we'll pump our fist and we'll get excited, just like We saw with Anthony Kim, excited, making putt after putt, saying it was a relief, it was therapy to make every single putt, going for so many years, more than a decade, without being on this scene and being so driven and punished and pushed down on more, to the point where he could look at his daughter and say, your dad is not a failure, as he said in his interview. You heard him. He praised God, and he is making waves and tracks to be a voice for the voiceless, to stand up for those that are struggling with addiction. May you continue to use him, bless his family, protect him from the enemy who wants to destroy him, as he has a great message for so many millions and millions of people on this earth that are watching him, especially those that love to golf and partake of very dangerous substances daily. We lift many people up to you now in prayer who are struggling with that. May you touch their hearts and their lives, and may somebody come alongside them, Lord. May you bring them there and help them in this very moment. For those that are down on life, as Anthony Kim once was, feeling like there's no other place to go, please lift them up, Lord, at this moment. May somebody call at this moment. May they understand and hear your word somehow, some way, knowing that you love them and you have a purpose for their life and the gifts that you've given them through the power of the Holy Spirit. And those that are listening that don't know you or know you through your Son, Jesus Christ, may they be approached, may they read the Word of God, and finally say, I believe that Jesus died on the cross, rose again after 3 days, and I turn my life over to him now. We bring this before you in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen and amen. What a weekend. What a great time to be alive. What a report today. I really enjoyed seeing all the information flash on my screen to be able to present this today, and enjoyed to see another life change right before our very eyes. Hope you guys have a great remainder of your week. For now, this is LT Semper Fi, with them we know, signing out.
Take a step back and enjoy this. Attaboy.
It's one of the greatest comeback stories in any sport in history. How sweet is that hug from daughter Bella, wife Emily, who have helped AK turn his life around. It's a tale of redemption, sobriety, mental fortitude, and the strength of love and family, and the banishing of demons.
Well, I know the mainstream media is not going to pick it up, but for the people that do hear about it, I want to be a good example. I would say that I wasn't the best person, the best partner, the best, whatever you want to call it, best son I could be when I was younger, but who I am today is a completely different person. With God, my family, my sobriety being the key things to my life, I can go as far as I want.